Hello everyone, Zeldarinth here, and for today's video on Umamusume, as Grand Life is getting ready to drop here in the next couple of weeks, I thought now would be a great time to kind of take a look at all the Umas that'll be dropping through this scenario. And just like with the support card banner, we're going to be going through them, try and go through them fairly quickly, or else this video would take quite a bit of time. So it's not going to be as in-depth as it will be when they're actually getting ready to drop. And also, we're going to take into consideration how they are currently at this point on JP's side, as we have been shown that they're willing to give us things early within this game, so it can be very unpredictable on how the meta may shift, depending on if we get like evolutions early, especially later ones down the line. And I really like to look at things like Umas long-term anyway when it comes to pulling for them. Now, you might want to consider when it comes to whether or not you want to get them, also take into consideration the selectors, as there are certain Umas that'll be very meta for something in the future that you can use the selector for. We already had Wedding Chan as one example, and I'll try and mention those as I kind of see them. But if you really want to get a general idea of the meta, if we were to continue to follow the JP route, which if they keep giving us updates like they just did, is very unlikely, I always like to use Henry Handsome's carrot calculator, as he has all the recommendations on Umas for pretty much all of the Champions meetings in League of Heroes that have come out up to this point in JP. So this can really, if you're a meta chaser, this will be the great one to kind of go through. Now, I have a general idea which ones are meta that we will talk about as we get to them. But with that, let's go ahead and just get right into these. So the first one we'll take a look at is one you've probably already heard quite a bit about, especially as we're getting ready to do a Dirt CM with the first CM of Grand Live. That is Kopano Riki, the next Uma that'll be dropping. Her biggest thing here is she actually might be pretty decent for making parents with this new auto system we're getting in. It's something JP just got a month ago, so they didn't have that to take into consideration when it comes to generating parents. But because it goes off an algorithm, you just slap a bunch of turf sparks on her, and she can easily do full dirt rotation and be one to kind of get you those dirt sparks that you might want to use for potential other Umas. Now, her ult, not all that good, so she's more of a great grandparent if you're using that background auto, just kind of getting your dirt spark set up with a bunch of whites to carry into grandparents. Now, her unique is the crazy, what makes her really crazy good. Not as good as an inherit, because it's not really strong as an inherit. But what's so good about it is for every green she activates up to 6, she scales up this speed with additional speed and additional acceleration. So it adds on a 0.05 on both of these, and you can do up to 6, so that's 0.3 on both of these, plus the initial target speed. I mean, this is a massive mid-race push-up. And with what she has in her skills, she has built in 3 greens: Pace Chaser, Savvy, Solid Steps, and now a lot of these names changed as these skills all got added into the game data file, so I don't recognize a lot of them because I got used to the translated versions. But then we also have now collaborative graded races. And of course, this is the gold version of Solid Steps. So 3 built in right off the bat if you build her as a Pace Chaser. You can also build her as a front runner. In Grand Live, she'll be very easy to build as a front runner as well in terms of greens, because we do have front runner and Pace Chaser Savvy built into Light Hello. So don't worry, if you want to build her as a front runner, you can easily get that one, but you still need to get 3 other greens. So it might be a little bit tricky in that respect. And then, of course, when it comes down to her evolutions, if we get those early, it makes it where she gets even more speed off of this one. Now, this one right here is one of those ones where you have to be greater than 1200 power. I don't know if it's the same here. Yeah. If you get it over power, you get an even higher speed. And with this latest update, 1200, getting higher than 1200 power is very important already anyway for additional acceleration with the new mechanics. This should be very easy to get that additional activation. If we get this, that's just a straight 100 additional speed added on top of her. Plus the fact that she has another one that speed. Like she can, with the 1600 speed, plus all of these greens, plus if you get right-handed / left-handed as well, she just can be an absolute monster. But the fun part is trying to get all those built into her. So just know that'll be the trickiest part, is getting that. Luckily, I think the 2 dirts during Grand Live are right-handed. And the first one is Fall. So you have Fall Runner and Right-Handed built into Fine Motion. So you can actually get 5 of them very easily right off the bat. Then you just got to get the last one. Plus there's additional ones added in, like the Mud one, which is Wet Mud. The next 2 dirts are also wet conditions, so it will work there. Funny enough, though, there hasn't been a wet conditions one since then, so that skill's absolutely useless past that point. But that is Kopano Riki. I will say, though, the upcoming dirt is very good for Christmas Ogre Cap as well, and she will be much stronger because of the fact that you're going to probably start seeing people bring out the stamina debuffers again, because stamina is much harder to get in Grand Live, and being a medium race, Ogre Cap will be just so easy to build, plus Agnes Tachyon's ult and 777s both activate in the same place for getting carryover acceleration, and she will potentially be stronger there. But there is a mild dirt at the very end of Grand Live on the 2nd anniversary selector that Kopano Riki will be very, very strong for. So if you want to select her, just know that there's one CM that you will miss out on being able to use her where she's like super meta. Because you can just use Ogre Cap on the next one. All right. Now, I won't be talking that long on every single Uma. I'm going to try and do that more for the big ones like Kopano Riki that I know of are really meta. And the next one we're going to take a look at here will be Smart Falcon Grand Live Edition. Sadly, I mean, you know Smart Falcon, she's another dirt Uma. She's coming right after Kopano Riki and is paired with the Light Hello Agnes Tachyon banner. Very sad. As she just gets surpassed by Kopano Riki in every way on dirts. And then you just want to put all your pulls into Light Hello and Agnes Tachyon. Now, I find Smart Falcon has a lot of potential for the background dirt rotations for making some solid parents or solid grandparents and great-grandparents, as long as you can give her some turf and long sparks kind of in that back end, depending on how you have it set up. You can have her do every single race, and with the auto background, win every single race. Other than one. There's one race you'll have to skip to make sure she doesn't have big negatives for doing 3 races in a row. Which I will be making a video on that, maybe and releasing that tomorrow. But Uma, she can do everything with the right setup. And so very good for getting very high affinity. And she has decent golds in here for dirt when it comes to making good grandparent dirts. Although when it comes to her ult, not really to me and all that good of an inherit, as it's not a big speed increase, and it's a stamina recovery attached to that one here, so it's very minor here, but it's pretty solid on her at 6 seconds with the heal on that. But Kopano Riki just surpasses her in every way. And then when it's not her, when it comes to the mediums, Christmas Ogre Cap's going to surpass her. So the stamina recovery is not doing much there. But I feel like she's an overall pretty good option for grandparent and great-grandparent making. Just don't pull for her specifically. She's pretty easy skip, and just get her down the line on an off banner, or maybe select her if you really like Smart Falcon. I mean, Light Hello and Agnes Tachyon are going to eat all your pulls anyway. It's going to be kind of the same problem we're going to see here with Winning Ticket Steampunk. So, unless you're Light Burb, to me, she's a very easy skip. But one thing I do like about Winning Ticket, but the OG one already does this, she's A in 3 things for trying to make sure you get a specific spark. To me, that while that's a massive advantage for like manual runs, now that we're actually starting to try and get into dirt rotation, and we can do auto background runs, this is a very big negative to me, because she just can't do all the races, and you need a really crazy setup. You'll need a dirt/mile setup to make it really work in the auto background, or if you're going to manually do them. And since now you can just do quantity of runs to try and get the right sparks, not as important. And then also the other thing is her inherit is not all that strong either. And then when you kind of get down into here, she's a lot better than the original. I do like her gold. She has 15 million CC here, as well as Come What May, so more from the medium side of things. Oh, I forgot to look at the evolutions on Smart Falcon there. I'm trying to go through these as quickly as possible, so I may miss some things here or there on specific Umas. But you come down here, it's just your generic increases the speed or anything. Nothing really all that, like, it just makes her better overall. All the evolutions do for some of them, but nothing crazy. A lot of your typical skills in her skills from events as well. But a pretty easily skip, unless she's your Oshi, like she is for Light Burb. Narita Taishin Steampunk. To me, I mean, she's another one where not really good for the parent making side of things on what she's A in. And then her alt is 0.35 or 5 seconds mid-race here. I mean, she's more of a late surger, if I'm not mistaken. Or is she still end closer here? Because it is a positional one where 7th through 4th on it for the 0.35. I say the OG one is better. Now, this one's more of a medium Narita Taishin, the OG being better on the longs, because she has From the Brink. So since From the Brink is only accessible from this card, and if I'm not mistaken, also a gamble to get it. Yeah, it's a gamble. So she just has that outright built in. So she has the gamble acceleration. You can pair this with like On Your Left. And with the buffs, they're much more consistent at getting you some accelerations. And then Breaking Ahead, this is, man, I hate these name changes. Just another speed skill. I think this one's, yeah, very back mid-race, but also has lane movement to help her get around people as well. I think this is a newer one that just came out. These name changes are really throwing me off because I remember what the JP translateds were. But very easy skip. I mean, this is right after Agnes Taki and Light Hello. You're going to be hurting on pulls. Pretty easy to skip that one. The next one here we have is the Yukino Bijin. People know her from her wit card for No Stopping Me. Now, she's got a generic 0.35, and I think she has, 300 remaining when leading or positioned towards the front. I mean, this is just an I win button if she's in the front. And so, if she is able to activate this, she has a very good shot at winning. She still have to get herself into that position. And I think the thing that people like about her is she does have No Stopping Me built in. The negative is she has Determined Descent, which, like, Hanshin is, like, the only one that this really has value. There might be some other tracks I'm not thinking off the top of my head, but this is just one of those gamble, get some accelerations off, whether it's the very beginning of the race, if you start right on a downhill to get some acceleration, or the end of the race to try and get some gamble acceleration. And so that makes her very specific to specific tracks. Nothing else to me really all that crazy in here for her. And when it comes to these, I believe it doesn't really change much other than making it, I think, last longer. Yeah, so it makes it last longer. And the No Stopping Me evolution just adds movement speed, right? Lane movement alongside it. Or no, it already had that. Is it just longer? Yeah, just makes it longer. And that's pretty much it. I mean, the only thing she's really got going for her, in my opinion, is No Stopping Me. So I think she's a very easy skip. She could be easily a great grandparent, though, with what she is A in. You just need to get some long sparks. And then she can long and short sparks, and she can easily do all of them with the auto in the background. I mean, the shorts, you don't even really need the short sparks because Sprinter Stakes is like the only sprint you care about. And since it's isolated by itself, as long as you have A in turf, you have a minimum of, I think, 60 or 50% chance to win it. With her in short D, I think that's going to bring her up to like a 70 or 80. You get true tries at it. So not too bad overall. But she's pretty easy skip, and one of the reasons I'd say she's an easy skip is right after her is going to be another Uma that I'm going to view as a big meta pickup here. Whether you want to get it on the selector or pick her up here, it's going to be Seeking the Pearl. She's one that kind of wasn't on my radar as being big meta pickup, primarily because when I looked at her kit, I didn't really look at evolutions. But if we get those early, she may shift, I think, the Mile CM that'll come out like right after her. So she is a sprinter miler. Now she is medium E and dirt F. You could get her into being able to be a parent, although she wouldn't be able to do the longs. But the right setup, you could do that there. Now, when it comes to her alt here, increases velocity when positioned in second or later with 4 lengths of the lead, within 4 lengths of the lead with 200 meters remaining. So she's got a big Greatly one here. Now it happens at the 200 meter mark. So she has to hit those conditions, but it does make it a potentially decent inherit. Not as strong as, to me, as something like Ogre Caps, Triumphant Pulse, or whatnot, which has not as harsh of a condition. But once we start getting to the point where we're having more and more skill points down the line, things like this could be the difference maker if you start stacking all of these alts at the end of the race and getting these massive increases here. But just a generic good one on it for her, though, because she does have a greatly tied to it. Now, when you get into her actual skills, what makes her really good is she has Big Sisterly, which basically this skill we won't really see that until we have Ikuno Dictus Wit here. So it's being built in is one of the things that makes Fuji Kiseki really good. And then she makes it even better when you look at her evolutions. And then you have Shocking Flash, which is another one, which is the gold version of Sprint Straightaways. When you go into her evolutions, one of the things you know is this is a sprint and a mile skill, which I don't really like generally in my Umas. Forgetting, she also has Head-On built in as well. And Light as Feather, yeah. Trying to make sure I check all these skills. When you get into her evolutions, she makes them both work on sprint and miles. And they're just all around better. So she becomes a monster on sprints, I think, is the bigger one that she's really strong on. But she can also be very good on that as well. And she has Umastan built in as well. And you will see her being very meta, I believe, in upcoming sprints. Very strong Uma for that, especially the League of Heroes, where if you want even a chance at like the tippity top 96, the meta sprinters are like the must-haves, and even then it's still gonna be quite hard with those because they're the only ones that could be kind of consistent at getting wins, because we've already seen with this upcoming sprint how random it can be. This is the most RNG I've seen. I haven't seen anybody getting consistent wins at least in the try-hard rooms. I don't know how much, if you're going into the random rooms, how they're doing, but very, very good. So to me, if you wanted to pick up a meta Uma, you pick her up here, or she could be a selector Uma specifically when she pops off down the road here. Then we have the Halloween banner with Agnes Digital Meisho Dodo. Now, Agnes Digital's kind of got a regret of not pulling for her in the fact that she can do turf and dirt. Now, you need to kind of get a long great-grandparent chain built into her if you want to be able to do the long races with her. But if you get that set up, she's really good in the great-grandparent position, primarily because she does... Now, the OG one has Super Stand, but she does have It's On built in, which is pretty good for getting a ramp up, a good backliner skill. I would say the gold Can't Keep Me Now, no. I mean, all that. It's a dirt-specific skill, so not as important. I like the OG better, and the thing that is going to be happening with this upcoming one is Agnes Digital's getting added into the legend races, so you can farm out the OG one, which kind of hurts the value of this one. Now you got her alt here. And so this one's a 0.35 acceleration. Yeah, position in the mid pack, further back on the mid race corner. I like the terming they've changed this. Now that we're getting all these actual translations now, and there are at least 3 beautiful radiant Umamusume nearby. So it's got skin conditions to it I don't really like, but she's got to be near 3 to get this off. But it's a fairly strong mid race one. But to me, not all that crazy. You know, look at the upgrades here. Yeah, she adds stamina recovery. I think this one's more speed for It's On, or more time for It's On, right? Yeah, more makes it last longer. And then Can't Keep Me Down. This one adds, I think, a recovery to it. So, but to me, she very easy skip. If you're wanting to use her for parents and all that. The OG to me is the better one. She has Super Stand built in to get those Uma Stand sparks. And unless you're like, she's a big Oshi to you, very easy skip. Then next we have Meisho Dodo Halloween here. Meisho Dodo being an okay one for the great-grandparent grind, as long as you can get those dirt and mile sparks built in, which I keep mentioning this with these. Just know that, I mean, that's the whole thing with the auto, is you're going to slowly... if you're really into the parent making and be running them a lot, you should be building out those great-grandparents for all these different Umas that you might want to build into your chains. Eventually, you're going to have your dirt sparks paired with mile sparks, or medium sparks paired with dirt, whatever you're needing for all the different Umas, you should be saving those ones off and kind of putting comments on them so you know which ones are for parent making or grandparent making other specific Umas. So she's very potential, has a lot of potential in that. Just takes a little bit more to make it work. I mean, the OG one also already has the same thing. She has, increases velocity with very slightly, intimidate up to 2 runners ahead and 2 runners behind. So she is a speed decrease. So kind of a mini debuffer, but it's not really all that strong. But it does last for 5 seconds. And when inherited, it's very tiny on this. I could see if you're one of those people that really wants to try and build out a debuffer, I could see maybe trying to put that in there. It's not doing that much. But if you have nothing better else better to put on the debuffer, why not? Now, she does have neck and neck built in, which power cards are pretty much dead. So until KS Miracle, which will be dropping during Grand Live, your access to neck and neck will be the Umas that currently have it. And then you won't be using Chaos Miracle until Grand Masters. But, I mean, she's going to be a very powerful Guts card for the 1 Guts you'll bring in Grand Masters, and I think potentially Lark and others in the future for neck and neck. But it is nice to have it built in. Also, your heal built in. So to me, both decently valuable. Problem being, though, Swinging Maestro is more for your mediums and longs, and neck, while to me it's more of a mile and sprint. So while they can work together, it's not as good in my opinion there. But when you come down to here on the evolutions for it, yeah, it adds in stamina recovery alongside that, and I think this one makes, yeah, it gives a speed after it. Yeah, so she gets the acceleration and then speed after it on the layers. Always like those changes. So there's a lot of the accelerations that get this with their evolution. And then this one adds speed to her Swinging Maestro. So not only do you have a heal, now you have speed increased to it. The problem is, in the future, we're going to have, like for longs, the McQueen stamina card that you could potentially borrow for that one. And then when Air Shakira drops, that just outright strips this of its value unless you need 2 heals in terms of the speed increase. Other than that, it's your typical Meisho Dodo. Unless she's an Oshi, to me, very easy skip banner. But because another big one right after her, Aston Machan is going to drop. She is a meta sprint inherit. I know she's an Oshi for a lot of people. And to me, she's going to be the strongest sprint front runner. And that's because she has a pretty decent acceleration that can happen at the right time depending on the circumstances. Now, she is a dedicated sprinter. You're not going to she's going to be a pain in the butt to build parents with for affinity-wise because she can't really do these. What you're pretty much going to have to do with her is, if you have your dirt rotations, you should get enough dirt sparks paired with some medium sparks, and then you could get her up to be able to win most of the races with the background auto. The background auto cheats, so it is nice if you get these high enough, you can get her decent affinity. And you would want to do that because she does have a pretty good meta acceleration. It's only a 0.1, but sprint, anything you can get is, I mean, getting those accelerations is key. She has it as 0.3 with 0.25. It activates at the 400 meter mark, which is really, well, starts its conditions. Once you hit the conditions at the 400 meter mark and later can activate. But I believe, yeah, she has to be pressured. So somebody has to be trying to pass her. She has to be an overtake target. But if someone's trying to pass her, which, if you've probably seen, pace chasers are starting to wreck our front runners. This could be fairly easy to activate. And if they get pressure on her right as you're getting up to the line, she's going to accelerate immediately at the perfect timing. If not, then she'll fight back with the acceleration plus a speed increase if they're catching up to her later. The biggest thing I really like about her and why she is going to be so nice as a front runner, she has taking the lead built in. Alongside In High Spirits, both very good sprint skills, but what she evolves taking the lead to is basically gold groundwork. Because taking the lead is very strong, but it only lasts 1.2 seconds. She evolves it to last 4 seconds. When we get Mihono Bourbon Wit, you pair gold groundwork with this, and she's going to be at like, she's basically a runaway for sprints without being a runaway. So unless there's a runaway, she's going to probably be in the front a very early race. Has frontrunner savvy built in, has groundwork built in, sprint corner. Like, all around, if you want to build a frontrunner for sprints, she's the one to go for, in my opinion. Now, I've seen, looking at future ones, I mean, a lot of the... she's never really the meta Uma, but her inherit is a good one for them. And she's just an all-around good Uma. I will probably be pulling for her. We'll just kind of have to see how things shake up with the rest of my polls. Alright, after her, we have Seeking the Whip. I don't know if we're going to get the rerun, but on JP, they apparently had issues where the banner ended early, and so they ran Seeking the Pearl again here. Don't count on it. So we'll just have to see what happens with that. Because this one kind of ran at an awkward time amongst all the others, because they just kind of re-ran it for the people that missed out on it, because the banner was delayed. Now we have Yamanin Zephyr here. And so, right off the bat, the aptitudes, Dirt D, a very good one to run for your dirt rotations here. Just get some long sparks paired with dirt. And she can do quite well there. With the auto. She does have a acceleration built into her ult here. So very slightly increased acceleration continuously for a long duration when towards the front on the latter half of the final corner. So... this one, to me, when I've kind of looked at it, is kind of tricky. The fact that the thing I really like about it, and now she can't do longs, so only really mediums, and miles, and potentially shorts. But it's 8 seconds long of 0.2. And if she's specifically in second place, it's a 0.2 instead of a 0.1. So a lot of gambling on it, but it is an acceleration that might be a little bit easier depending on the track, because of how long it lasts to get that acceleration to carry over into the race where it actually really matters. Now, she does have Changing Gears, which is a mile-specific skill. And then this newer one, I believe, yeah, which is just a Pace Chaser velocity increase here. It's always nice to get those built in, not have to worry about them. I think this is just a... yeah, this one is... what is the difference between these? I think this is just a conditional one, yeah. Changes, yeah, okay. No, never mind. This is just making it last longer, right? Yeah, makes that one, makes Changing Gears last longer. Makes Ambitious Breeze, I think, last longer as well. Or no, increases the speed. And this one, I think, changes the condition, right? Yeah. If you're in third or worse, your speed will increase. In second or later... 2 lengths ahead, so I think it's just, yeah, slightly changing the conditions around. Funny thing is, she will always have one of the speed ones here, spring, summer, fall, and winter, all built into her event. By no means, though, a meta Uma. She's more of an Oshi pick if you want to pick her. And so with that, we'll go ahead and go to the next one. Another big banner that I really like, although to me going to be very easy to skip, sadly. This one has Tamamo Cross Festival. To me, I like the OG one better, but this one's more of your, if I'm not mistaken, medium. Yeah, she's more of your medium Pace Chaser, while the OG is more of your end closer / late surger. So it has a decent speed increase. It's kind of, her ult's kind of like its own variation of somewhat of like a tail held high, activates the ult and then gets speed increased as you activate other skills during it. So you want to pop off a bunch of things together. So you have that. Now she doesn't have tail 9 sadly built in like the other one, but she does have tail held high. She has killer tunes for mediums as well. It's on, and this is what kind of killer tunes being more of a front one is what kind of dictates that she's more of a pace chaser. She has head on built in. But an overall fairly good pace chaser in that respect. She evolves killer tunes, I think makes it faster, yeah. Yeah, makes it faster there, and then her other evolutions are, it's on, yeah, faster, I think this one's longer. So either faster or make it last longer. And yeah, the rest of it is pretty much just Tamamo Cross. Just think of her, pace chaser, medium Tamamo Cross. If she's an Oshi and you want to use her more often, she will be a good one for the medium tracks, while the other one more so the long tracks and potentially miles. The other one here, Inari 1, she's one that I really wanted to pick up, but I'm pretty much going to probably skip now, just because you still have so many other options. To me, I kind of viewed her as my Narita Taishin type replacement for long and closer, as she's our next Uma with Encroaching Shadow built in, but she also has innate experience, a very good into the race speed skill. And with that, but her big downside is kind of her ult here, not as good timing wise as like Narita Taishin's, and also when we get to our Mr. CBs. But increases velocity on the final straight after pressuring the runner towards the back on a corner late race. Increases the effect for each time the user passes another run. So a little bit more conditions on it. And it's a scaling speed of 0.35. Can be really fast. It's just not as good of a timing for this one versus something like Narita Taishin's. But I do like the built-in innate experience, and then the evolution to it also makes it just all around faster. And then Encroaching Shadow evolution. Narita Taishin's evolution for Encroaching Shadow sucks. It just adds field of view, like you see here. She actually has the second one that she eventually gets that adds a speed after the fact. So first she gets the acceleration, and then later in the corner it gets a speed up. Pairing that with like innate experience, she can really get some speed coming out of that corner into her ult on some of the longs. Oh, and another thing, it's Inari 1, she can do dirt. And I keep forgetting, there is a dirt track, I think it's Kawasaki, that the final start, it's a medium, but you actually start on a straightaway the late race. So Encroaching Shadow actually works on that dirt as well. I think it's the Kawasaki one. There's one. There's a dirt that's the medium starts on the straightaway, which she will be good with Encroaching Shadow, although innate experience. Problem, Kopano Riki exists for the dirts. And Kopano Riki and Ogre Cap. Ogre Cap also on the mediums. So even if she can be a fairly strong end closer for it, they're going to still be dominating it at that point. Next we have after that, the Uma that I'm not going to pull for her, but I always joke I should pull for her since she really wants to be on my account. Since I got her 8 times pulling on the Sumimoto Zensky banner. But Nakayama Festa here. When I kind of forgot to talk, Inari 1, she's also good for the great-grandparents, being able to do turf and dirt. Now, the OG one, in my opinion, is better than her because it has Tail 9 built in to help get Tail held high parents. So this one here, on the aptitudes, we have, she's pretty much good at everything, although you'll need Dirt Sparks if you want a Dirt Rotator. The only sprint you really care about is Sprinter Stakes with the auto, like I said. You have a 50-50 shot at winning those with Turf A. Just your typical speed. She does have a Greatly in her ult here, but if unfavored. So I believe this is just like the nice nature one where you don't want her to be a favorite. And yeah, popularity 4th or greater. She gets a Greatly. So you could say that's a benefit for your free-to-plays that don't build the very high stat stick massive skills to get a little bit more speed. She has a new green here, Risk Taker. So very occasionally tap into Untold Inner Strength. Yeah, this one is this one's the, you have to be 4th or greater popularity as well. So you're kind of gambling on that, on whether you're going to be that. Personally, I ain't going to be something like that, but that's because I try and build as strong of Umas as I can. She has Nothing Ventured built in. A very good skill for your sprints and miles, which she's weaker in. I am not taking, at least until we get a lot easier to get stamina, where we can way overcap stamina. I'm not taking this gamble, lose a crap ton of stamina skill if you activate on a long or a medium in a lot of cases. But very good to me in miles and sprints. But if you pulled on Sumimoto Zensky, hopefully you have her card for just building Nothing Ventured or Risky Business into your parents. She also has the gold version of the gambling one, where now if you're, what is it doing to it? Yeah, the popularity less than, she can, I think, get it as well here. And then her evolutions to this one is, I think it's the same thing. It's just a massive speed increase now. And it's the same thing on the gamble here. So it makes it go from 0.45 to a 0.55 speed increase on her. So very big there. And then the gamble's now for 100 speed, power, and guts. So not too bad. And then long shot. I mean, if you're activating this one, you're activating long shot as well. So not too bad. But to me, an easy skip. She'll probably end up on my account anyway because she loves to show up in the support card form. I'll probably end up getting her when I pull up here somewhere. Next one we have is Wonder Acute. And so she's another one I feel like is got a lot of potential for great-grandparents or grandparents. Yeah, and now she does have in her ult a increase current speed alongside target speed. Current speed, very, very good. It's just an instant speed boost. We've seen it in action with the new camping Taiki shuttle. It's very tiny on inherit though, so not really all that good. And it is dirt specific as she is a dirt Uma. So just take that into note. That Kopano Riki and Christmas Ogre Cap dominate dirt, which is the big downside of her. She does have Big Sisterly built in. I'm in Dancer in the Dirt, which this is a new name for. Is this the yeah, I forget what the name of this one was, but it's just another dirt speed skill. So pretty good there overall, but Kopano Riki exists. That's the problem. Although she does have Muddy built in, which is a green that'll be irrelevant after the second Dirt CM. At least they haven't had one that's wet conditions dirt since then. So completely useless at this point. Evolutions, I think it's just increasing speed and time here. Yeah. Adds in a recovery. I'm Big Sisterly there. Adds time to it. Nothing too crazy. I mean, unless she's an Oshi, she's a very easy skip because there's just so many better options for dirt. Then we get to the Christmas banner here. This one actually has decent Umas here. I really want to pull on this one. We'll have to kind of see. Die with Scarlet being a good long front runner here. It's your typical aptitudes with Die with Scarlet. She can do most things, and so you could dirt rotate her since she's mostly good on everything else. But her big thing here is she has a massive speed increase for 6 seconds. Very good for longs. So yeah, moderately increase the velocity continuously when towards the front on a straight in the second half of the race. And an effect increases if leading and close to the runner behind. So she can have, and think about it, Gold Ships does this, but she does it from the lead. Gold Ships is be 6th place or behind. This one is from the lead on longs. Going to be very, very strong. She has built-in Restless, so she has her heal. And she has another gold that you really don't get access to until later. And these are non-meta cards, if I'm not mistaken. But greatly increased velocity when leading on the final straight. And there's another runner within 1 length behind. So a big 4-5 speed increase. She'll be very strong for longs. And potentially one I want to pick up to pair alongside with like Kita-san Black and Ballroom Saving Sky potentially. Evolutions. She makes this heal a 0.075, which, hey, will be very important for some Umas down the line because now we're knowing on JP they're doing stayer stakes and these 0.075s will have some massive value. But this also can make it where you only maybe need this one heal and you can make her a glass cannon. She either heals and does well or she doesn't heal and dies. Which would be, to me, it's really good if you're going at the front and you have like a backup end closer or late surger or pace chaser for when it fails. But always really nice to not need 2 heals potentially on the longer tracks. Or if you're needing consistency on being able to heal, having this paired with another heal, which we'll see with the Kikasho League of Heroes, where you absolutely do not want to die and you need to have more than 1 heal. Then we have, yeah, just increasing. This one, if I'm not mistaken, it makes it her evolution, yeah, turns it into an acceleration, if I'm not mistaken. If you're in the first half of the pack at a random point during the second half of the open, your speed will increase. Then the last spurt. So this could be massive. I think she drops before the Arima Keenan. And this is basically built-in encroaching shadow on this evolution. If we get the evolutions early, now I think this is a secondary one that she got later, so I don't think we will get this one right off the bat. But if somehow we did, it would be very, very good. But it's the second version of Restless. I think that will come later, not with the first iteration of them. And then you, of course, have this one making it a 0.55 increase to it. So a lot of potential there. She has Winter Runner built in, Arima Keenan. There's one of your greens. And yeah, that is Daiwa Scarlet Clishmas, a very good front runner. By no means the big must pick up, in my opinion. There's another 2 big front runners I'd pick up over her if you're having to save a lot of pulls because you're not a spender. Yeah, Vodka as well here. Nothing too crazy. It's your typical Vodka. Then she has a 0.35 or 4 seconds. If you meet her condition, this one is a downhill specific one later, but downhill mid-race or later increase velocity alongside, oh yeah, if it's Tokyo, it adds a 0.1 acceleration. She'll accelerate up to the higher speed quicker. If you can get some carryover on some of the races there. She has No Stopping Me built in, as well as Late Surge or Top Gear, so she is dedicated Late Surger there. Very big speed increase, though, at 0.45, and of course, No Stopping Me is No Stopping Me. She evolves No Stopping Me to have Stamina Recovery and Lane Movement Speed. Well, that's normal in there. She evolves it to have Stamina Recovery in, right? I think that's the only thing that changed. Yeah. So, not worth it to me. That's a gamble on a tiny skill, like, not doing much on that. Her evolution to Top Gear, I think, makes it a 0.55, so a very big speed increase on that one. So overall, pretty good Uma. Definitely an upgrade from the OG Vodka, but by no means a big pickup on this banner. Instead, you're going to be pulling on this banner for Daiwa Scarlet. After that, we have Zeno Rob Roy here. And so her aptitudes, I mean, Mile E, Dirt G, not really liking that for a great grandparent or grandparent grinding. But, and her unique's kind of a tricky one because it has to deal with, conditioned on getting a greatly on a G1 or similar major race. I think, if I'm not mistaken, someone could correct me in my comments if I'm wrong. It's going to consider all of the CMs to be triggered as a G1. I don't think when they do like the G2 or G3s on League of Heroes, it's downgraded. Someone could correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I haven't actually heard the answer on that, on the conditioning of it being the greatly or not. But it's your own conditional skill there. It's a front towards late race with 400 meters remaining. So kind of your own triumphant pulse in that respect. Has a race planner built in and refraction arc, which we really don't get access to again other than when it was on Thrones here. So that's just your gold medium corner skill for mediums. And yeah, she evolves it to work in longs, I believe, is the big thing. Yeah. Makes it faster and makes it work in longs. So to me, that's kind of nice because then you can take refraction arc and then the long corners. And so that gives you basically another whole corner skill. And then, of course, adds big speed. You can have a massive heal or a tiny heal with a better speed increase. So 2 different variations of how you might want to use Race Planner on her. So overall, not too bad. She has right and left-handed built in, so you'll have one of the greens right off the bat there. Not a bad Uma, but to me, not like a meta. But she's got a lot of potential. But her problem is right after her is 2 big banners a lot of people are probably going to pull on. We got Narita, Brian. Sadly, she will drop, or should drop, right after the Arima Keenan. Or she'll drop at the very end of the Arima Keenan CM, and people are going to want to last-second build her. As she is a very strong pace chaser for longs. So she has increased velocity when in the front of the pack on the later half of the final corner late race. If the race is long and the user engaged in a challenge, she engaged in a challenge in the mid-race, massively increased. She has a 0.55 speed increase here. And you can't inherit that portion of it. So the inherit's not near as good, but it's a 0.55 here. She has Spring Runner built in, so she's going to be really good on the Tenno Show Spring. She has Hot Pursuit built in, a nice little speed increase there. The big one, though, is it used to be called Monster, renamed to Beast Mode. So they're starting to use all these Dragon Ball names. They got Zenkai Boost in this game now. Now they're going, she's going Beast Mode. So she's like Gohan here. But it's an increase to acceleration. Late race, if the skill, or if she was within 4 lengths of the lead before the late race. And basically, as a pace chaser, they're pushing up. But as soon as if she gets close enough to that front runner, she has a very strong acceleration and very good shot at winning, especially with her ult. Now the evolutions here makes a big speed increase to Hot Pursuit, or even bigger. This one increases just the acceleration. Sadly, I mean, it'd be great if she had the evolution like the quite a ways away from now, which is the Cinderella Gray Ogre cap. Makes it where you get a 0.6, I believe, if you're within the right lengths, but it's guaranteed to activate with 0.4 regardless, which makes it super strong. Now, a lot of people are going to want to build her last second. The main counter to her is Runaway. Now, one of the things is, since she's going to drop potentially right at the very end of the Arima Keenan CM, people are not going to build Runaway as the counter. Now, you might see people build Major Palmer because she'll be really strong there. But outside of that, nobody's going to build specifically to counter Pace Chasers, because Pace Chasers are only going to have the white version access, or the white version of that skill to access, which isn't as strong. And so if she's available before the finals, she can be a very strong Uma if you pick her up and build her last second. I'm not willing to do that, though. So for a lot of people, she's an easy use the selector to get her. The next one after that one is the Kita-san White, as we call her. I mean, it's Kita-san Black New Year's, but nickname is Kita-san White. Medium frontrunner monster. It's pretty much all you need to know. She has built-in acceleration for it with increased the current speed. So, timing-wise, she can get the carryover pretty well with her. She has dodging danger, prudent positioning built in. Wherever it's at. Prudent positioning, dodging danger. She has the combo built in. She has taking the lead built in. Very, very good, because when Mihono Bourbon Wit drops, we're no longer going to use the free Mihono Bourbon for taking the lead. We're going to just accept that we're not going to have taking the lead anymore, and instead you'll just have golden groundwork, which is even stronger. But she'll be able to have gold groundwork and taking the lead. Plus, she has groundwork built in, which is already really nice. She has escaped artist built in. She is just a monster overall in mediums. And also, we'll have Tokai Teo Wit for Professor of Curvature for her, since you won't be able to use Kita-san Black when building her, until El Condor Pasa. So, she will be a monster. She makes taking the lead have a higher acceleration, and then she just has more speed. I think it's more speed, or is it longer? It's longer for Escaped Artists on her. If you like frontrunners and you want to play them on mediums, she is a big must pick up for your fronts. Oops. All right, we're almost done here. This is a long video. This is why I'm trying to go through them quickly. I may have missed some things as I'm trying to go through these. I'm trying to cover them and not make this video too long. As I might do some other videos where I maybe do want a batch of them more into details than what I'm doing here, because this is quite long trying to go over all of them. And I just cannot cover everything. I've definitely missed some things here and there. So we have Hoko Toramane. I haven't really looked too heavily into her actually much at all. She's a dirt Uma though. I mean, the dirt ones, Kopano Riki and Christmas Ogre Cap. I think this one's right before the mile. Oh my god. The second time I've done that, it's my computer there for those listening. So we have our alt here. Does have an acceleration built in, slightly increased acceleration when well positioned in the last spurt after engaging a challenge on the mid-race corner in a dirt race. Effect increase if still going strong. And I think she might, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's a very weak acceleration. But I think she might have potential there, although she is one of those ones you're going to need Turf Sparks if you really want to kind of great-grandparent rotator. She has Calm and Collected built in, which is a Pace Chaser heal. It's kind of weird because she's got the mile stuff. I mean, you're not doing as many medium dirts, and the medium dirts are just Christmas Ogre Cap anyway. And then training the charts, pretty good skill here for dirts, but evolves this to have speed on that, and then bigger speed, and I think this one's acceleration. Still, I mean, she just never gets to be super meta in that respect. But if she's an Oshi, she can work. Just have fun. The biggest problem we're going to see now that Gold ship's out, if I didn't mention at the beginning, is you're going to have the double Dom builds in the dirts. And they're going to bring Kopana Riki with double Dom, double Keen Eye, and they're going to go all in on the Kopana Riki, and she's going to be very hard to beat. That or Christmas Ogre Cap. It's going to be a nightmare until we start seeing them ban debuffs, which really hurts anybody but those two. This stuff is subject to change, though. They could start introducing bans to debuffs early. Alright, right after that, we have Daitako Helios. She is another runaway, though funny enough, from what I've seen, you don't play her really as a runaway where she's strong, which is the mile stuff. Big speed increase here on her alt. And then she has Changing Gears and Reckless Charge, both good gold skills for that. She has Slipstream built in, just like her support cards. Mile straightaways. Pretty much all the good mile stuff coming in here. Another mile speed increase. Evolutions on these just makes them bigger speeds, I believe. Actually, makes them both last longer on her evolutions. She does have Runaway built in, so you can build her as a Runaway if you want to. Has Speed Eater, has, Miles Corner Protect. Like, for most of what I've seen, though, you can actually run her as a Pace Chaser in a lot of CMs where she's going to be more meta as a Pace Chaser versus a Front Runner. And even when you run her as a Front Runner, it's generally not a Runaway, from what I've seen. But very, very, very strong on some of the Mile CMs. And I know she's a fan favorite for a lot of people, so just know that she will be good if you pick her up. But sadly, there are a lot of other good things around her. We just had Kita-san Black New Year's. That was a big pickup right before her. And then next Umas were, these are reruns here. So, okay, we'll get to the next ones. So, right after the reruns, we have the Ines Fujin Valentine's, the Mihono Bourbon Valentine's replacement. Still seeing her in use in the top 96 for League of Heroes in JP as of today. So, still very in use. And we don't even really need to go really into her kit. She's just Mihono Bourbon, but better, because she can use the Mihono Bourbon Wit card. Difference is on her ult. Mihono Bourbon has a more speed. I think Mihono Bourbon is 0.35. She's only 0.25. But she's a 0.35 heal, while Mihono Bourbon is a 0.15 heal. So you just kind of made the heal stronger, the speed increase a little bit weaker. And the condition is it's random versus Mihono Bourbon's, which is a little bit more controlled. You know when it's going to activate. Still very, very strong. And then you can always just have her inherit Summer Maru Zensky and Mihono Bourbon's ult anyway for some extra speed to pair with her own. She has built-in groundwork like Mihono Bourbon. She has built-in concentration like Mihono Bourbon. Crescent Gale, which is your gold front runner corners. So it's not Escaped Artist, but you can get Escaped Artist on her / Fast Pace from another card. Nobody else has access to Crescent Gale. It's never been on another support card or another Uma. She's the only one that has it, so it's a gold that is unique to her. Very good right there. Has Speed Eater, Frontrunner Savvy built in. That's like all the same stuff Mihono Bourbon has. I will say she has the same problems with evolutions as Mihono Bourbon. Literally because she's already so good, they just do an all stats up 10 for her concentration evolution. If they would have given her like the Silent Suzuka evolution that makes it have a 0.2 acceleration, that would be massive. And then the front runner one, I think it's adding acceleration. Now she has Gamble acceleration carryover tied to it. One, she's going to also speed up to it quicker regardless, but it also is potential to get it on the late race, which is really good. Playtime's Over is built in, Dodging Danger built in, early lead built in, which pretty much once Mihono Bourbon Wit drops is what you'll be using versus taking the lead, because you can't get it really easily anymore at this point. Front runner straightaway, she just pretty much has everything built in her kit. Don't have to worry on your parents too much. Very, very big pickup. Even if you want to use her as a parent, grandparent, she can do pretty much everything. Can do the dirt rotation fairly easily. You just need the dirt sparks. All right, the other one is going to be Major Ryan Valentine's here. You're not pulling for her, but you might end up getting her if you pull over Ines Fujin. So this one definitely better than the other one, I think, as an ace just in general. She does have an acceleration tied to her ult. Increases velocity for a moderate duration when second or worse, which, I mean, she plays in those kind of positions. Within 4 lengths of the lead or downhill. I think she's a downhiller, so determined descent. Oh yeah, she's the one that has the both downhills. So to me, I think she's like a Hanshin racetrack specialist. Which we're starting to see a lot more of these. But yeah, the downwind hills, it's all gamble on there. Has medium corners, pace chaser. So she has the medium stuff built in. But being all downhill stuff really makes her very specific for specific tracks. If you get her, she'll be good on those tracks, but I wouldn't pull specifically for her. You're going to be pulling for Ines Fujin Valentine's. I think these just increases the speeds, or this one makes it an acceleration / a big speed. And this one I think makes it last longer, right? Yeah. This one makes it last longer versus a speed increase. That's Major Orion Valentine's. Next, we have Shinko Wendy. I think a lot of people know this card from the speed card we were using in Track Blazer, 10% race bonus. She has, funny enough, this is the new name they had for Mud Monster. Maestro of the Mud, a wet conditions mud skill. We never had another Mud CM and after the one that'll happen, I think, right when she comes out. But she does evolve it, I think, to work everywhere. It's just not as strong, I believe. Yeah. And basically, you get additional stats. So you'll never activate this after that CM again, but I think this one's always active on one of these. And then full speed, of course, another dirt speed increase. She just makes it last longer, or not last, a bigger speed increase. All right, and then we're on to the last banner here, which is got Twin Turbo. Everybody will eventually get her. She's a 1-star. So she will just start popping up in all your polls. She's a runaway, finally. Everybody will have access to runaway, and she is a very strong blocker runaway. Her ult, 13 seconds, permanent, basically like an entire mid-race speed increase, an entire tail held high speed increase as a runaway. It'll get her to the front. But the big negative is that at the end of the race, she gets a permanent decrease to speed, 500 seconds. So she's very good for getting way out and being in the front and just blocking. That's one of her big things. She does have front runner corners. She has taking the lead, so she'll be able to get out there really quickly, giving it 1,000%, which we'll be seeing on her guts card as well. Another big speed increase, but it also drains stamina. I mean, you don't care about stamina. Her entire job is really to block for a lot of people. And that's really what she's got going on. Just get her as a runaway and block the other front runners. Now, people that really like her can make her work as a normal front runner. But ultimately, what she's good at, and runaways are just in general built for, is kind of blocking to a certain extent as we get farther into the game. But the reason you're going to pull on this banner is going to be Mr. CB, which is our gold ship, official gold ship replacement Uma. As in, she basically does everything gold ship does, but better. She has a speed increase. She's got gold ship speed increase, but she also has a scaling speed increase to it to make it even stronger. She has encroaching shadow built in. So now she can get that even stronger accelerations on long. She has beautiful form, which is a medium / long speed increase here. And then her evolutions to this makes it even bigger speed increase. Involves encroaching shadow. The first one we'll get right off the bat is a field of view. I mean, same thing Narita Taishin gets, which is stupid. And then I think this one's a fairly new one, so don't expect to get this one anytime soon. And this one, yeah, makes it a medium specific one. So I think this makes it where it will time correctly on mediums, but this one's fairly new. So we won't have that one if we get evolutions early anyway. Has tail held high built in. Oh yeah, and she also has Uma stand built in. She's just an all-around better gold ship. So unless you're a gold ship lover, this is the replacement if you end up getting her for gold ship. And that's pretty much it. That is everything all the way up through Grandmasters. Man, that took a lot longer than I expected. But that is everyone. I will continue to do in-depth looks at them right before they come out. And I might actually make more videos that are more batch in-depth ones, because this one was very fast. I may have missed some things on a lot of them, just trying to go through them quickly to cover all of them. Grand Live is really a big carrot saving ones. The biggest ones to pick up here: Valentine's, Ines Fujin. You got Daitako Helios, Kita-san Black, New Year's, Seeking the Pearl, and then I think Daiwa Scarlet front, which she's probably the leakest of those. Those are like the main Umas, but a lot of people should be skipping as much as they can, especially if you're willing to spend and using the Selector's Lead, a couple of them, and then going all in on Major Ramanu and potentially the Ancestors and Guide support card for Grandmasters. That's going to be it for now on this video, and if you like my content, if you like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps, and thanks for watching.